Moran is out at ABC News. The veteran journalist quickly finding out the repercussions of criticizing President Trump and top White House aide Stephen Miller. A spokesperson for the network making it clear it was all about the social media rant, telling The Hill Tuesday, quote, "We are at the end of our agreement with Terry Moran based on his recent post, which was a clear violation of ABC News policies. We made the decision not to renew."
The words that got Moran fired in a now deleted post on X included this: "Miller is a man who is richly endowed with the capacity for hatred. He's a world-class hater." Moran went on to attack the president, saying in part, "Trump is a world-class hater. But his hatred is only a means to an end, and that end is his own glorification."
Now, his ouster is cause for celebration on X. Conservative firebrand Charlie Kirk weighing in, posting in part, "Terry Moran is a clear example of the radical media bias Americans have suffered for decades." White House Director of Communications Stephen Chung chiming in as well with the short message of "talk blank, get hit." And Fox News host Howard Kurtz saying in part, "Terry Moran revealed his own hatred and bile towards them, making his firing inevitable. ABC did the only thing it could do in dumping him, given the damage to the network's credibility."
The firing comes just 6 weeks after Moran interviewed Trump, where he pressed the president over Kilmar Abrego Garcia. That irritated Trump and made the now viral moment when the president suggested to Moran, "I've never heard of you," and that he was given a big break with the sit-down interview. Well, I'm not going to defend the now infamous deleted tweet. I mean, that seems self-evidently indefensible. I think that ABC News did the right thing by letting him go. I was sad about the whole episode because I think Terry Moran has been a very good journalist over the years, and I think that obviously sort of besmirched his own reputation. I actually think, I know we often criticize the mainstream media here, I think ABC News is a very good organisation to the extent that I ever watch evening newscasts. I watch the David Muir one on ABC, which I think is the best of the three major networks. And I think that part of to be clear about the actual tweet that got Moran fired, let go, or whatever term you want to use, it's not the fact that someone criticises Stephen Miller. People like myself, who are in a more opinion-y kind of role, can criticise Stephen Miller if we wish. People in all sorts of other roles can criticise Stephen Miller or anyone else. The point is that Terry Moran is not in an opinion role. He is ostensibly a straight reporter, so it completely undercuts that idea. And then, even if you were more opinion-y, some of the personalised nature, we read some of what he said about Miller, but the part that I found most indefensible was this thing. You can see this just by looking at him, looking at Stephen Miller. You see his hatreds are his spiritual nourishment.
Yeah, he eats hate, I think he said.
Hate. Like, that sort of, I mean, first of all, I just think about saying it about anyone, you can tell what this person's personality by looking at them is just a dumb thing to say, but it was very, very personalized.
Yeah, it was a very nasty tweet. There was nothing useful from it. It was not a critique of his policy or the things he's doing as a member of the administration, but was very, very personal, and there was no reason for it. And it seemed like maybe a mask-off moment for Terry Moran. ABC definitely did the right thing. I have a theory, and tell me what you think about this. So in the statement, ABC was very careful to say that they were at the end of a contract with Terry Moran, and so they decided not to renew the contract. I kind of wonder, maybe the negotiations weren't going super well, and Terry Moran already knew that he was on the way out, and he decided, all right, I'm going to go out with a bang. I'm going to tell you what I really think about Stephen Miller, and ABC is going to do what they will, but I'm probably not going to be around anyway.
So I, like you, was very struck with this idea that he was right at the end of his contract.
It seemed like convenient timing, right?
Right. So I mean, somewhere I read that his contract expires on Friday. That, given that he's been with ABC for 28 years, to send that tweet approximately a week before your contract is up, that seems curious timing, to say the very least. Now, I don't know what is in his head, or obviously I can't mind read him, but it is curious that timing is what it is.
Yeah, I agree. And then shortly after getting that Trump interview too, like, you would normally think that someone who has this big White House sit down is, of course, going to be renewed. He's been with the network forever, and yet he decides to go out in this sort of spectacular fashion. The whole situation is very, very strange. And I do appreciate, though, that in the statement, ABC directly called out the social media post, because a lot of times when these media firings happen, it's a very sort of cushy PR statement of, you know, we loved working with Terry, and
we wish him all the best.
We wish him well. We wish him well, but you know, our time together is up. But no, they specifically said this post was a clear violation of ABC News policies, and of course had previously suspended him on Sunday after the tweet went out. So I appreciate that they were willing to call it for what it was and not try to sort of paper over or whitewash what his conduct was.
No, and I have talked on here before about instances where I think media organizations, or specifically their corporate owners, have kind of bended the knee to Trump in a way that I thought was unjustified. That's not what I think here. I don't see any way that ABC could have justified that tweet or made light of it. They had to do what they did. The contract timing is certainly curious. Obviously, from my perspective, none of this is to defend Stephen Miller, who I think often tweets in extremely hyperbolic fashion. I mean, he's constantly referring to judicial coups anytime judges rule against the Trump administration. He has referred a number of times to communist judges, which is a charge that I find absurd. So my point is really there are lots of legitimate grounds in which one can differ with or disagree with Stephen Miller. But if you're a purportedly straight news reporter on a major news network, and remember, the whole branding of those major news networks is that they are impartial. You can't be tweeting those sort of things and expecting to keep your job.
Well, I think Terry Moran perhaps will maybe take the role of a lot of other recently departed mainstream news anchors, where they're starting their own Substacks, they're starting their own shows. Maybe he wanted to go independent.
Well, if that's the case, right? It is a publicity raising,
maybe
profile
so.
Raising.
He's going to get a lot of Substack subscribers if he starts it now from all of his old fans at ABC News.
He is. Maybe this is the time that he should really move into that area.
Yeah, he can pull a Jen Rubin. Why not?
Anyway, Republicans are taking aim at one of their own. Why Senator Josh Hawley is in the crosshairs. That's coming up.